You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And today, the Giants fall flat on a muggy August day in the nation's capital as they fall 11-5 to the Washington Nationals. Hayden Birdsong completely fell apart today as he surrendered 7 runs in just 2 innings of work. Took him 66 pitches to get 6 outs. The bullpen wasn't much better as they gave up 10 hits and 4 runs over 6 innings of work. A tough day all around for Giants pitchers. But on a positive note, it looked like Heliot Ramos' thumb is feeling better as he smashed a home run in his first at-bat of the night. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you get in the show, we appreciate you tuning in. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As NHL and NBA playoffs are finished, the sports stop sportsing like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. This game started off great for the Giants. I mean, first at bat of the game, Tyler Fitzgerald almost hits another leadoff home run. I mean, this dude is so hot right now. He did not hit a home run today if you're keeping track on the Big Fly Fitzy home run watch. He can't add another tally mark today. We'll have to wait till tomorrow and see if he gets one then. But you know who did get a first inning home run was Heliot Ramos on a high fastball too, nonetheless. The pitch that he has been having troubles with all season long. First at bat back from a few days on the bench after that jammed thumb that he tried to play through and just couldn't really get it going. His 16th bomb of the season, 428 feet to right to center field / right center field, kind of started tailing towards right field at the very end. 108.4 miles an hour off the bat, a solo shot, and it was great to see Ramos do this, especially on a high fastball. And I said this prior in the last show, but hand up, I did not mention that Ramos was dealing with that jammed thumb when I was giving him grief for his troubles hitting high fastballs lately. And that is true. The hand injury, a wrist injury, a thumb injury is going to make staying on top of those pitches a lot harder. But he has been having those issues all season long. This issue is not a new one for Ramos. It's not like he injured the thumb and all of a sudden forgot how to hit high fastballs. It's been something he's been struggling with since he got called up, since the league adjusted to what he was doing when he went on that insane tear in the first half of the season. It's nice to see him adjusting. It's good to see him healthy or getting healthier, because he's not going to be able to lift that ball that far out of the zone keep his hands strong through the zone like that if that thumb is still giving him problems. So nice to see Ramos getting back on track with that bomb. And then with 2 outs, a Matt Chapman walk and a Mark Canha hit by a pitch that pitch hit Mark Canha. If you're Canha, that's right where you want to get hit by a pitch, right in the butt. just right in the side of the cheek, and just let that bounce off and roll on over to first. Probably the easiest place to take a pitch to the body. I mean, getting hit in the ribs sucks. Getting hit in like the arm sucks. I guess maybe like the shoulder if it doesn't hit the bone. Like if it hits you in like the meat of the bicep, that's okay. But still tough. But anyways, gets hit in the best place to get hit if you're in a baseball game. And Chapman walked right prior to that. So you got runners at first and second with Michael Conforto up, and he has been on a tear lately. Smashes his 12th home run of the season, 113.2 miles an hour off the bat. This ball was a laser beam, 414 feet, a 3-run bomb, gives the Giants a 4-0 lead. And Michael Conforto, since that final game of the Colorado Rockies series, has really been playing very good baseball. A guy I've been hypercritical of this year. I mean, he's been really frustrating me with his bad defensive play. Let's just call it what it is. He's not a plus defender, and he's had a down year at the plate. I mean, he's been pretty average where he goes through these big lulls, but when he gets hot and streaky, he looks pretty good. That batting average was below 220 not that long ago. It's now up to 236, still leaves a lot to be desired. The OPS is at 755, so you'd like that to be higher as well. But lately, dude has been hitting really well. As I said, the 3-run bomb tonight, that first inning was really great for the Giants. They sent 9 batters to the plate. First time since 2022 that the Giants have hit 2 bombs in the first inning, according to Mr. Dave Fleming. I love Flem. I mean, do we have a better broadcast team in all of baseball? John Miller, Dave Fleming, I mean, Kruk, Kipe, obviously, and even the periphery guys who do the fill-in work. I mean, Javi Lopez and Hunter Pence and FP Santangelo doing some work on the radio as well. We have a really great group of broadcasters out here. They always have great stats. Dave Fleming today offering up a lot of good stats about the Giants. One of them, like I said, that first time since 2022 that the Giants have hit 2 home runs in that first inning. Hayden Birdsong had a 4-0 lead to work with before he even threw a pitch. And after that first inning, he had a nice first inning. It labored a little bit getting through it. There was a fielding error, but he only saw 4 batters in that inning, but did, as I say, threw a ton of pitches just to get through those 4 guys. In the second inning, the Giants had another weird play. The Giants have been having very weird plays lately, with Lamont Wade Jr. up to bat with Ramos on base. He's called out on a foul tip that the catcher caught that was absolutely not a foul tip. It was a ball inside, and Lamont Wade started to go around, but stopped way early in his swing. The ball really was not that close to the bat. Maybe Blue thought the ball tapped the handle of the bat, but not really even close when you look at the replay. Terrible call. And you can hear Lamont Wade Jr. saying, "How are you not going to check that S?" End quote. The hot mic picking up all sorts of fun stuff. And you also heard him say, "That's terrible, bro." He repeated it a few times. And I agree. Although I will say, Lamont Wade Jr., you can't check that S, bro. I mean, I wish we could, but this is as dumb of a rule as you get in baseball. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like the automated balls and strike stuff, but if you should be able to challenge something like this. I mean, come on. If the pitch is, it clearly didn't hit the bat. We have video review in like every single other sport. If you're watching the Olympics and you're watching any soccer, people can be offsides by a millimeter, and you have video replay review that will automatically tell you how far offsides that person was. And why can't we get that in baseball? It just drives me insane. We are living in 2024, not 1950. We don't have to just rely on like the 3 fixed camera angles we got. We have the technology to make this better. Why the hell don't we? The Giants ended up leaving Ramos stranded on second base that inning after Matt Chapman's strikeout. And Chapman was really terrible today with runners in scoring position. He was up a lot, I think like 2 or 3 times with runners in scoring position. Couldn't do anything in any of those at bats. He did score a run today on a walk, but he also had 3 strikeouts. So a really bad day for Matt Chapman at the plate, who had 3 consecutive games with the home run, and he was looking to make it 4 for the first time in his career. Couldn't get it done. In that bottom of the second inning is when it got really bad for the Giants. Wood hit one to the wall to lead off that inning, and Conforto made one of maybe the worst attempt at a leaping grab at the wall that I've seen all season from a Giants outfielder. He kind of clearly didn't really have a good feel on where that wall was, which is weird for a guy that spent as much time as he did in a Mets uniform. You know, he's played at that ballpark in Washington quite a bit in his career, and he just was out of position and tried to make a leaping catch and kind of pirouetted after he jumped. It was just a really weird visual. Ball hit the wall, kicks away. Ramos also wasn't doing a good job of backing this play up. So Wood gets all the way to third on this play. It was tough. Ground ball to first base, then scores the run. Giants still had a 4-1 lead. Birdsong then walks Call, then walks Vargas in a really non-competitive at bat where he started to look like he was really losing control. It's tough when you're up 4-1 and you walk the 7 and 8 hitters in the lineup. Then the 9 hitter singles and run scores. Giants still had a 4-2 lead at that point, but then CJ Abrams cracks this one open as he smashes a 3-run bomb, a fastball that was all the way up, like over the shoulders, looked like a slow pitch softball swing. Like he just had this weird uppercut, and he knew it immediately. A crazy pitch. I mean, literally up around the dude's chin outside. I have no idea how he got to that pitch and how he stayed enough of on top of it, enough to really not just get completely under it and pop that up to the infield. No idea how CJ Abrams hit that ball and even hit it out of the park. Absolutely nuts. He knew it too, right off the bat. Stood there, watched it go, give a little bat flip. Wild, absolutely wild at bat. I've never seen a guy hit a pitch that far out of the strike zone for a home run. That was absolutely insane. Very next at bat, Birdsong completely loses the grip on a pitch and almost hits a guy in the head. And it was really hot and muggy down there. He clearly struggled to gain his control in this one. And he had some really long innings. And when you're out there, we've talked about this on the show before, when you're out there for that long, and it was like 89 degrees and muggy at the start time of this game, it was really hot during the day too. It's hard. You could just see how wet Birdsong was out there trying to get a grip on that ball, constantly wiping that hand off, and he just could not get a grip. It took him 40 pitches to get through just the second inning. And I'm not counting first inning pitches. 40 pitches in the second inning alone. Took 58 pitches in total to get through those 2 innings. Then in the third inning, the Giants left more runners on base. They after a Conforto walk and Encarnacion smashed one in the gap for a double. Nothing happens. The Giants had 3 consecutive outs with runners at second and third base, couldn't score a run. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. Got a little bit of bad luck mixed in there as Pat Bailey had ripped a rocket 104 miles an hour off the bat, but went right to Abrams at short. So some bad luck mixed in with some bad offense. Giants can't get a run in. The Nationals then kept pouring it on. Before Birdsong exited in the third inning, Ruiz smashed a 400-foot home run on a fastball right down the middle. Interestingly enough, this fastball was only 94.7 miles an hour, not significantly lower, but about 3 miles an hour slower than we have seen from Hayden Birdsong's fastball so far this season. He was off for 9 days before this start, going up and down between the Giants and the San Jose Giants, and hot and humid day in the swamp that is Washington, D.C. A very tough day for Hayden Birdsong. Next batter, he walked Wood, and Birdsong was pulled. Worst start of the season for the kid. Came out for Randy Rodriguez, who also surrendered a runner that he had inherited from Birdsong. So that run charged to Hayden Birdsong 7-4 by the time that the Giants get out of the third inning. And wow, that changed dramatically from the 4-0 lead that the Giants had in this one. From then on, the Giants did tack on one more run in this one in the top of the fourth. Fitz scored after a Ramos single to left, rolled up Wood's glove and his arm, and it went right by him. A really weird play out there in left field. Got by him. Fitz scored. Ramos went to second. Giants still trailed 7-5, but they were making it close. Moved Ramos over to third base with 1 out in the inning, and then a Mark Canha strikeout and a Matt Chapman line out. Could not get him in. Just an absolutely maddening stretch for the Giants today, where they just could not get any runners in that were on base and scoring position with less than 2 outs, with less than 1 out even. The Giants have really struggled in these moments. We've been pointing it out on these last few shows. If they don't carry this team with home runs, this team cannot score. Today, 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. They left 8 runners on base. They still scored 5 runs in this one, picked up 9 hits. The offense really wasn't the problem. With that run production, you should be able to win most games with this pitching staff. Unfortunately, tonight, as I said, Hayden Birdsong only lasts 2 innings, gives up 5 hits, 7 runs, 3 walks, only 1 strikeout, gave up 2 home runs. That ERA balloons to 4.73 after it was so low to start this season after his amazing start. After being called up from AAA, he was 3-0 with a 2.97 ERA coming into this one. Now he's got one up over 4.7. That's really tough. Really tough day for Hayden Birdsong. Bullpen was not much better. They gave up 10 hits, 4 runs. Gave up a couple walks as well, gave up 3 walks. So everyone kind of ran into some issues, but that's going to happen when you have guys like Randy Rodriguez throwing 56 pitches, guys like Sean Jelly going 2 2/3 innings. It was just a get through this game without having to use all of the bullpen arms kind of deal to close this one out. As this one started to get away from the Giants, it was a really tough day all around for this team. Offensively, if you count, if you get rid of those 2 first inning home runs, this team really did not do a whole lot after that. I mean, they had a really hard time, as I said, getting runs scored from second and third base. When you have runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs, you need to figure out a way to manufacture runs. The Giants have failed to do that all season long. This team is allergic to winning baseball. I mean, they were 57-57 coming in. We were really hoping they would get to above 500 for the first time since May, and they couldn't do it. 57-58 on the season with the loss today for the Giants, and it was a tough day out in Washington. You still have a chance to come back and win tomorrow, but now with the loss today, you're still it's doesn't feel as good. If they had won yesterday and won today, I would have felt real comfortable going into these last 2 games of the series, hoping that the Giants could take one of the 2, leave Washington with another series victory over a bad team. But now they're sitting at 1-1 in this series, and you got to go back and win these last 2 games. The Giants need to win every single series against teams that are sub 500 if they want to make the playoffs. This team needs a lot of wins. They need to go at least 10 games over 500. That's a conservative estimate to make the playoffs if they're going to catch the rest of the wild card teams and put themselves in the middle of the pack and somehow grab that last wild card spot. It's going to be an uphill climb, and days like today just make it tougher. It's, Hayden Birdsong, he's a young kid. He's going to have hiccups and he's going to have learning moments. And this was one of those. It's just really tough when the stakes are what they are, and you couldn't put yourself in a better position by playing better baseball in the first half of the season to where you could afford some games like this. Right now, the amount of games that the Giants can afford to lose like this are dwindling. They're few and far between. I don't know how many more games you can afford to lose against a team that is 52-62, 10 games under 500. So the Giants need to start winning. I mean, it is 1 game, but at this point, they don't have very many more. It's just 1 games that you can write off losses as. Got to take a quick break, but on the other side, we got to go through why Hayden Birdsong's day was so rough, just exactly what was going on with him on the mound out there, pitch-wise. And I can't do just all negativity on the show, right? We got to have some positivity. Let's look at what Michael Conforto has been doing since the final game of the Colorado Rockies series on the 28th of last month. He's been really good, and I got to give a guy who I have ripped thoroughly some credit when credit is due. So we'll give Michael Conforto some credit, and we'll take a look at what made today so hard for Hayden Birdsong on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is jam-packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trademaster program. Every Trademaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Did I mention it's free? Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants fall just absolutely destroyed by the Washington Nationals. 11-5 is your final in Washington, and Hayden Birdsong got touched up for 7 runs in just 2 innings of work. Came back out for the 3rd inning and got just obliterated, man. He had a really hard time doing basically everything on the mound. I mean, you're looking at a guy who is got a 34.8% whiff rate coming into this one of the best in baseball if he was among qualified pitchers. Obviously hasn't had enough innings to be in that conversation, but still a pretty solid number over an okay sample size. Not a big sample size, but not a super particularly finite small sample size either in his first few starts as a big leaguer. But today, his total whiff percentage across all of his pitches, just 8%. That's right, 8% whiff rate for Hayden Birdsong today. And a lot of his pitches were really not competitive. They didn't find the strike zone. He had a really hard time just staying close. That control was hard for him on virtually every single pitch. Threw some hanging curveballs, a lot of hanging curveballs. The only pitch that he got swing and misses on, though, was the curveball. Just 2 of them all day long. Didn't get a swing and miss on a fastball, which is rare for him from what we've seen early this season. Did not get a swing and miss on the changeup, and did not get a swing and miss on the slider. He barely threw the slider. I think it was the slider he was trying to throw when he just completely lost control and almost hit a guy in the head. He just could not find his grip out there in that heat, in that Washington humidity. As I said, the curveball, it's been a really effective pitch for him all year long. He threw 23 of them. That was the most of any pitch that he threw today. And coming into this one, he had thrown 102 curveballs this season, and batters were just 1 for 29 with 19 strikeouts against it. And that definitively is not what happened today. That curveball got hit a couple times. It was tough. Two balls in play off the curveball, 6 off the fastball, 2 off the changeup. So he had a really hard time sticking to his strikeout stuff, hitting his spots. He left a couple hangers up there, both as far as sliders and curveballs go, left some fastballs out over the plate. He just really couldn't hit his spots. He wasn't generating swings and misses, and that was a result of the lack of control. A lot of these pitches were just really not competitive. These balls he was throwing, not very close. As I said, he had 66 pitches in total to get just 6 outs. He only threw 38 strikes in those 66 pitches. So he was having a really, really, really hard time staying in the zone. Got 3 ground outs, 0 flyouts. It seems like he was giving up a lot of hard contact all day long. His average exit, his max velocity that he hit with the fastball, also 97.5. But as you saw the game continue, you saw him back off of that and start just kind of taking some miles an hour off just to get it over the plate. And that's when he started to get touched up with those home runs. It was a really tough day out there for Birdsong. A learning experience for sure for a young kid who I still have a ton of confidence in. I said yesterday, he's my favorite pitcher to watch, the guy I'm most excited to watch on this Giants staff right now. I love Logan Webb. I love Blake Snell, but the ceiling of what this kid can be, of what Hayden Birdsong can be, is sky high. Absolutely just through the roof. Will shatter every glass ceiling in his way, has the potential to do that. Today is a bump in the road. I don't think any differently of this guy and his potential because of what we saw today. I think it was a really hot day out there, a really humid day. He's going to have to learn how to pitch in those conditions. And he just looked like he had a really hard time out there. His face was bright red the whole day. And he was kind of giving me I don't know, man. It was interesting to see how he doesn't run that red when he's getting all frustrated and flustered and running hot in games. He's a guy who generally runs at 110 miles an hour or 110 degrees. He looks just like he's boiling out there on the mound when he's talking to himself and just constantly heated, just mad, even though he's been pitching pretty well up until today. Today, I didn't really see as much of that fiery desire to win. It looked like he started to get down on himself a little bit. And that's something that he's going to need to work on. Obviously a very passionate guy, wears his emotions on his sleeve. And that's not something we're going to rip a 22-year-old kid for. That is something he's going to have to get better at, though, not getting too down on himself and beating himself up. The next pitch mentality is vital, obviously, for any pitcher in any level of baseball, but especially for a guy who's going to be starting very, very, very key games for the San Francisco Giants down this playoff stretch, down the playoff push, I should say. But the Giants couldn't get it done today. As I said, the bullpen was not much better than Hayden Birdsong. They gave up 10 hits today, 6 runs. They were left out there for a long time. Randy Rodriguez threw 56 pitches. He did everything he could do, but he was out there to eat innings. Sean Jelly threw 42 of them. Taylor Rogers threw 17. The Giants as a whole needed 181 pitches to get through this game tonight. 181. And that was only in 8 innings of work. If the Giants, God forbid, they had to pitch another inning today, they very well could have hit 200 pitches the way this one was going. It's basically 2 games worth of pitches. That's a lot. That's a lot. Maybe not 2 full games, but 2 full starters worth of outings of pitches. 2 full Greg Maddux games worth of pitches. So yeah, not everyone can beat Greg Maddux though. But Giants fall 11-5 tonight in Washington, and it was just a tough game for the Giants from start to finish. Well, I say start to finish, but that start was pretty nice, 4-0. But after that, it just was all downhill for the Giants, and in a day that was just not their day. And we got to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to talk about Michael Conforto in the great stretch that he's been having. We'll also go over some roster moves that the Giants made as well, with Wilmer Flores being done for the season. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app, dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And you guys know, with the USA chasing gold medals, I mean, out there in Paris, I am all over all of the FanDuel bets. I mean, you've got so many different options to go. The world is your oyster. Also, I mean, I was telling you guys last time, if you listened to me, the last time I had a FanDuel read, I told you Tyler Fitzgerald the next day, anytime home run. And guess what? That hit. That was a pretty nice one. And I'm going to tell you again, Tyler Fitzgerald came really close to hitting another home run today, and he did hit a double there in the 9th inning. He is locked in at the dish. Keep rolling on the Tyler Fitzgerald anytime home runs. They will continue to hit. Dude is, I mean, just on an unreal tear right now, and I'm going to ride that hot hand. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com. Start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants fall 11-5 to the Washington Nationals, and it was a tough day for the Giants for a number of reasons. Wilmer Flores, it was announced today he is done for the season with a knee, and that's a tough loss. Wilmer's had a very down season, but he had a great year last year, and we were just waiting for him to become that Wilmer. At some point, I had some hope that if he was able to get healthy, that maybe he was going to have a nice second half like he did last year. Wasn't able to do that. The Giants, I think, were expecting this. This is why they went out and got Mark Canha at the trade deadline, a guy who can play first base, hit from the same side of the dish as a Wilmer Flores, and also can give you some outfield versatility. So Mark Canha is the Wilmer Flores for the rest of the season. And it's doubly unfortunate for Wilmer because today's his birthday. Dude turns 33 today. Happy birthday, Wilmer Flores. Sit your butt down for the rest of the year. No more baseball for you. Bummer, big time bummer for a great locker room guy and a guy that's been a fun Giant. He's got an option for next year, so hopefully he'll be back in a Giants uniform. He's a guy I think contributes to winning a lot when he's healthy. Hasn't been right this year. It's not been a good year for Wilmer Flores. Giants also made some roster moves because they needed to bring Hayden Birdsong back up from AAA. They also recalled Jackson Reitz because Kurt Casale was on the placed on the paternity list. Spencer Bivens was also optioned to Double-A Richmond postgame yesterday to make room for some of these corresponding moves. Tough go for Spencer Bivens. Guy who's been pitching really well, has a sub-2 ERA, going back down to the minor leagues. I mean, it's a crowded bullpen, but I would have liked to see the Giants find a way to keep that guy up with the big league club. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm sure we'll see him back before too long. But a guy that I want to talk about before we wrap up this show is Michael Conforto, because he's had a nice stretch. I mean, today he hit that 3-run bomb early in this game. He also had a double. I mean, Conforto has just been hitting really, really well today. He was 2 for 3 with a run and 3 RBIs. He also drew a walk in this one. The batting average is climbing, although it's still down at 236. But since the last game of the Colorado series on July 28th, Michael Conforto, this was coming into today, so this is excluding today's stats. So some of these numbers are going to be a little higher, but he was batting 381, 8 hits, a home run, 3 RBIs, and 4 runs scored in his last 7 games. Now, today, adds a homer to that total, doubles his RBI total, and adds a run. So now, since July 28th, he's got 10 hits, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 5 runs in these 8 games, batting up around 400. Michael Conforto is heating up, and this is the right time for a guy like this to heat up. One of the streakiest guys on this entire Giants roster. He's been down for most of this year, but if you remember, earlier in this season, this guy was red hot, and when he was hot, the Giants offense looked a lot different. They looked a lot better when Michael Conforto was hitting. And when he hits, it disguises some of these other, holes that they have. I mean, Mark Canha in the middle of the order doesn't excite me, really doesn't. I mean, Encarnacion has been a nice addition. He picked up 2 hits today, but he's still a big unknown as to what we're going to get going forward. Pat Bailey has had a rough go of it lately. That batting average has been dropping by the day, but he's been hitting the ball hard, just been getting unlucky. They haven't fallen for hits. Casey Schmidt has been in a tough go of things. Point being, there's a lot of slumping going on this Giants team. Lamont Wade Jr. also slumping pretty hard lately. That batting average is down to 290. He went 0 for 5 today. Lamont Wade doesn't look healthy still with that quad. It's been a rough go for this Giants offense as far as finding any form of consistency. Ramos has been good for the most part this season. Fitzgerald obviously on an unreal tear lately. Chapman has been pretty solid as of late, but today 0 for 4. And you need to have somebody step up. And Michael Conforto, when he steps up, it can cover up some of these other holes that these Giants have on their offense. I mean, it's no secret this team has been so inconsistent all year long. It's been really rough with runners in scoring position. The Giants have one of the lowest on-base percentages in all of baseball. With runners in scoring percentage, or with runners in scoring position, their on-base percentage is just 304. Let me tell you, there's only 2 worse teams in baseball than that: the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago White Sox. RBIs, they're towards the bottom of the league too, just 19th in RBIs with runners in scoring position. They're also 11th in plate appearances. So it's not like they're not getting at bats with runners in scoring position. 11th in plate appearances with runners in scoring position in all of baseball, and 19th in RBIs. That's not very good. They're bottom 10 in strikeouts. They're bottom 10 in batting average. They're bottom 3 in on-base percentage. They're bottom 5 in slugging percentage. They're bottom 5 in OPS with runners in scoring position. This team has struggled so mightily in these situations. You got to find a way to score runs. You absolutely have to figure it out, find a way to get productive outs and score these runs. I'm driving myself insane saying this every single damn day, but they got to do it. You got to figure it out. You have to. Yes, they did score 5 runs today, but just looking at that number and not looking further at what they could have done, 1 for 14 today with runners in scoring position, 8 runners left on base. Ouch. Very tough day for the Giants. It was a tough day all around. The bullpen didn't play well. The offense, they were okay with the 2 home runs that really bailed them out of what otherwise would have been a really bad day at the plate. And the bullpen also didn't do a great job either. The Giants didn't turn in any errors today, so that was good. But when you give up 15 hits and 11 runs, that's, that'll do it most days. So the Giants, they'll trudge on tomorrow as we start another climb back to 500. Giants sit at 57 and 58 with the loss. They will play tomorrow out in Washington. 4-game series for the Giants out there. So they'll have Blake Snell going tomorrow, and then they'll finish out with Kyle Harrison. So hopefully they can get 2 wins, close out the series in Washington with a winning trip to the nation's capital, and continue on about their way and continue inching closer to this playoff wild card berth. But they still have a long way to climb. A long last 2 months of the season. This is going to be for the Giants where we're living and dying by every single game, and every game matters. Every single game matters right now. Tough loss. Try and get them tomorrow. It's still the Washington Nationals, who are 10 games under 500, and you still got Blake Snell, who is absolutely rolling right now through a no-hitter in his last outing. So we'll see what Snellzilla has in store for us tomorrow. Thanks for joining the Locked On Giants postcast today. That's all the time that we got for you. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.